Welcome to another edition of Local Focus. We are eagerly anticipating the start of basketball season, so why not talk to one of the best hoopers on the girls' side in the state of New Mexico. La Cueva's Eva Love is my guest. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
First of all, it seems like you've been around forever. Right?
Yeah.
But I guess that's what happens when you make an immediate impact as a freshman, right?
Yeah, no, coming into that, there were so many seniors. I had to try to make any impact that I could make. But yeah, it feels like I've been around for a long time. So it's kind of bittersweet for it to be my senior year.
What was that? I mean, what was that like of that freshman year? Obviously you had some other younger players on the team, but there were some seniors. But what's that like? Freshman right away into a very successful program. What were some of those growing pains for you?
I just feel like just learning the way we play defense is super different. And it was also a COVID year, so like I couldn't really like get a feel for everything. My coach and I always joke around that my sophomore year was my freshman year, but those girls were like so open and they brought me in and I was just a part of their family right away. So that's why I was able to make that impact that I could make because of them.
What would you say the hardest thing about freshman on varsity? Is it the basketball side? Is it some of the other stuff? Like, what's the hardest adjustment?
I think definitely the basketball side, because like it's hard to like these girls have been playing with each other for a longer time, and so like coming in, you have to learn everyone's different styles, how your style fits with everyone else's, and really just like how you can make that impact. Because as I said, like there's so many seniors, and they were scoring already. And so, like, what can you do besides scoring that can make an impact?
And a lot of players say it's speed of the game, physicality of the game. Did you find that to be true also?
A little bit. I was kind of a big freshman. I mean, I was...
Yeah, you were already guarding as a freshman, right?
Yeah, I think I also played on the 17U Clippers team since I was in 7th grade. So I've been playing against big, fast girls. So I don't think that was, like, a big factor into, like, how new it was.
What about, you mentioned it was the COVID year, so what made it, talk about that. Just talk about those challenges, things that you would normally do as a freshman that you couldn't.
Yeah, I couldn't even go to school that year, and so that was hard. Like, you're playing for a school that, it's different now because I have so much pride in going to school at La Cueva, so, like, I play differently now, but it was hard. Wearing the mask was definitely hard. I could only see those girls like at practice. It was hard to like build those relationships outside, and just even to find a gym sometimes was hard because you couldn't really go anywhere. So just finding like outdoor hoops and stuff to practice was hard.
Yeah, how did you keep your game sharp?
Yeah, I was just outside. We have a hoop like close to our house, like a full court size hoop, and I have a hoop at my house that my dad put up, and that's all I was really doing. And staying in shape. I think like if you can't practice on shooting and stuff, you have to stay in shape and be like the best in fitness as you can be.
I know during that COVID year, like a lot of underground games started popping up, at least on the boys' side, right? And I may or may not have went to a few of those, right? Because I was getting pretty bored.
Yeah.
So was that the same on the girls' side? Were you guys finding places to play?
For Cueva, we were having like open gyms at the park every single week.
But it was hard to even find parks.
It was hard,
right?
Yeah. It was hard to find parks, but like we still try to do the best we could do. Because we were super excited about being able to play even just 10 games.
Right. You come into a pretty special team with some pretty special players, with Riley and Jersey and all of Tiona and Carolina, and I don't want to leave anybody out, right? But you walked into a really special group. So talk about that, the chemistry right away.
So they were super close. They're best friends, and so it was a little bit hard to come in and like I had to prove myself for sure because no freshman's just gonna come in and take someone's spot. But I had to prove myself, and I proved to myself, and they were just they taught me so much, and they helped me so much. Riley was like the best motivator ever. She was always so cheerful and happy, and like when I would mess up, as so many freshmen do, like she was able to help me and stuff. All the girls were, and so that gave me the skills to help Jordan as a freshman, her coming in this year, because I've just learned how to be a good leader from them.
So, and I do want to get to that because that's what all your coaches rave about. But I want to talk about the end of this freshman year, right? So there's a condensed playoffs, right? So you guys get into the playoffs. There's a 7 seed. Volcano's the powerhouse at that time. That's how the season ends. So take us through that, losing to them, kind of seeing, okay, this is the standard here right now. This is what we have to rise to. Talk about the end of that season and kind of the goals you set after it.
Yeah, so we went into that locker room after the game like super hungry already for next year. We already knew that we had like all the returners coming back to be able to get the job done, And so we were just like motivated. We wanted to be Volcano. We wanted to come out and play strong. And that really just like set the fire for us to like the next year when we played and how we got so far the next year.
And that really was kind of the beginning of that rivalry, right? Because that definitely started something, right?
Yeah, I remember going to La Cueva and Volcano because I was choosing between those two to go to school. And I remember like it was so heated every single time in a good way, super competitive. And I was like, oh, I want to be a part of this because that was like the game you went to go see.
All right, memory that stands out. What's your memory? If you had to pick one memory of your freshman season, what's the one you look back at?
I think my favorite memory was when we beat Sandia and I guarded VNA because I think guarding her was the best I've ever played defense on someone. I think that one. Or when Riley made the buzzer beater against Farmington, that was insane because we were just so hyped, yeah.
All right, we'll take a break. Come right back with Eva after this.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Back with La Cueva's Eva Love, we're talking about your freshman year. First of all, how, just to put a ball on that, like how excited were you to kind of learn, okay, the next year is going to be quote unquote normal?
Yeah, I was super excited because like they all like raved about how fun high school basketball was, and so I was super excited to be able to play basketball next year, play against other people in the state, and so I was super excited for that.
So I guess technically you didn't really have your first game with the crowd until your sophomore year, right?
Yeah, no, I think we opened out with Volcano too, so it was like a packed game. It was pretty, yeah.
And another thing that happened between your freshman and sophomore year is there's a coaching change. That's always an adjustment for a player, right? Especially a program that had been so successful under Coach Perea. Now there's a coaching change. So what was that like?
Oh, so Coach Perea was an amazing coach, and I learned so much from him, and even in that short 10-game season. But we had full confidence in Coach Marissa to come out and be that coach and keep us at that high standard that we were. And so it was a change, but not a huge change because
did it help that she was already there?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, because we stayed with the same defense. We still run a bunch of plays that we ran when I was a freshman. So we still do a lot of things at that place or at that standard we were with. Yeah.
So obviously, sophomore year, first you talked about that first game against Volcano right out of the gate. What was that like? That was technically your first game with a crowd, right? So.
Yeah, it was super fun. We started like, it was weird how we started. The starting five was like me and Riley and a bunch of sophomores, and so it was different. But it was super fun, and it was like cool to see my family in the stands. Because they haven't been, like, they were in the stands before, and so it was cool because I love playing in front of them.
Did that rivalry, you opened the season with them, you ended the last season.
Yeah.
Does that just add fuel to the fire?
It did. I knew, like, that's all we were talking about. We wanted to beat them so bad. And so when we came short, it was like another motivating factor for us to keep going and keep getting better.
How hard is it to stay, and I've had this conversation with other players, but how hard is it to stay focused on a season when you build such a rivalry? And it's happened on the boys' side too, right?
Yeah.
Like the good teams, that's their focus, is beating Volcano.
Yeah.
So how hard is it to stay focused on the season as a whole when in your mind, a little piece of your mind is always thinking about Volcano?
Yeah, Coach Marissa's always done a good job of like telling us we want to peak at the right time. And so like even though we knew we lost that game, we weren't ever like focusing on, when we're going to play Volcano next. It was, when are we going to peak as a team and be the best we can as a team.
Now, what about individually? What do you think from freshman year to sophomore year? What did you notice changed the most about your game?
I think I just became more confident. I was able to shoot the ball more and score more. And even just like on defense, I talked more. I just became a lot more confident.
And did that just happen right away? Does that kind of start in the summer, or does it just click during the season? When did you feel it?
I think during the summer, I remember we like went down and played Hobbs in a tournament or two, and like we were playing good competition. We went to New Mexico State for a camp, and like just being able to play with the girls more, like it was a regular like season because I didn't get that chemistry before all the way. So that's really was the summer.
All right, so we get into the playoffs of that season. You face Sandia in the first round, right?
Yeah.
Now, is the rivalry already there, or did that not develop till, because their players are younger, right?
Yeah, no.
So that wasn't a thing yet.
It wasn't really a thing yet. We did beat them 3 times before because we played them in Metro, 2 times in District, and so we knew they wanted to really come get us. And I hurt my knee the game before, and so I was just like ready to get out there and play again. But it was kind of like a little bit of a rival. They're kind of our rival, I would say, but not as much.
What you're really telling me is that you guys beat them all the time, so they're not a rival.
I don't want to say that, but
Okay.
but yeah, they have talented players, so we can never like doubt them though. So
right, you're talking a little bit about your knee, right? So let's get there. How hard is that as a basketball player to come back from any kind of knee injury? Talk about that.
Oh, it's super hard. Like just even having the confidence of not doing it again and the confidence that your body's okay, it's super hard. I know with both my ankle injuries, it took me such a long time to feel comfortable again, and that was the same for like my knee.
Because the players that I've talked to, they've all kind of said the same thing. The hardest part is not the rehab itself, it's the being back on the floor and getting to the point where you don't have to think about it happening again.
Exactly, yeah. Just like not worrying about it is so hard because...
So when does that happen?
It's just kind of natural. It just takes a little bit of time. Just like as you keep playing and you realize like, okay, you're fine, you're good, then it starts to go away.
Because I do remember a game back from an injury that you had like once. I don't remember which year it was, but I remember we did that game. And so what's that mental thing like? Are you out there literally telling yourself, no, it's going to be fine, just hoop?
Yeah, I have to.
Do you feel it? Like, do you feel it in your mind? Like, okay, I'm only 80%, I'm only 90%.
Yeah, for
Do athletes
sure.
really feel that?
I definitely feel that 100%. Like, there's sometimes I'll be like, I'll do a move. I'm like, oh, I can't do that yet. Or I'll close out on defense. I'm like, I can't do that. Or just, I know, like, my ankle, I came down off a rebound, and that's how I hurt myself, the first ankle I had. And so just being able to rebound again, like I used to, be able to jump again is super scary. When you're coming off an injury, like any type of injury. So you have to keep telling yourself, like, you're okay, you can do it, or you wouldn't be out here if you couldn't.
Second round against Oregon Mountain. Obviously, that's a team that, maybe you're not as familiar with them because they're not from the metro area, but obviously a really, really talented guard with Harmony there. Yeah. So tell us about that.
I've been playing with Harmony since I was 12 because we both played up on the 17U team, and I know her style of play. It's super flashy. She's such a good shooter, and so we were super excited. We actually lost to them our second game of the season, and so our third game of the season, and so we were super excited to come back and like win that game. That's what we wanted, and it was such a fun game because Sandia was So defensively, like a struggle, not a struggle, but defensive that's what happened. Offense, it was such a high scoring game that game, and everyone was scoring. Like it was, I think all the starters were in double digits that game, and it was just a crazy game, but it was super fun. Our student section was in it. It was so fun.
Now I can imagine as a player that's really fun. Everyone in double digits, but I can only imagine Coach Marin's because defense, right? That's her thing.
Yeah, defense is her thing.
Like, that probably wasn't her favorite game.
No,
right?
I watched so much film with her, and I think it was one of her favorite games just because of like the intensity. We were playing good defense. She was just making insane shots.
Right.
Like shots I was like, oh my gosh, like what do you even do?
Right.
But we did switch to that 1-2-2, and that's like what helped us in the end win that game.
How locked in are you in a game like that when you know there's someone really special on the other side?
You just have to. I just know myself. I'm super confident in myself and my teammates, and usually I just try to stay calm, because if I stay calm, we'll be okay. I'm just like super locked in on not trying to make the super good play, but just make the right play.
Right. And then the playoffs ended against Hobbs.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, that was really like hard for us, because we knew we were such a good, talented team.
You guys beat them in the summer, right?
Yeah, we beat them this summer, but then they didn't have wisdom when we
Right.
played them. They are just a really good program. They always bring in girls year after year after year. And so it was a heartbreaking win, but I feel like it just motivated us again to keep going. I mean, we lost by 2, and that's not a fun way, but it was fun to play in the pit. That was the first time I've ever played in the pit. Our student section was super, super big, and so it was a fun experience. It was a good lesson, I would say, for us.
Now, your next pit run-in with Hobbs
Yeah.
was a little more newsworthy. We'll get to that when we come back.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Back with La Cueva's Eva Love. Before we get to last year, and obviously a lot to talk about there with what happened at the pit, we want to do top 5 list, top 5 things we don't know about you. You've seen that on the program before,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. All right, so let's start with number 5.
Okay, number 5, I love to read. That's probably one of my favorite things to do besides basketball.
Okay, what's like, you have a genre there that you go to, or?
I really like sports fiction. That's probably my favorite right now. Yeah, that's pretty much really
You have
it.
a recommendation for us?
The Game of Tennis. That's
Okay.
one of my favorite books.
Okay.
I always read it before like a big game or something
Okay,
like that.
all right. Number 4.
I actually won Homecoming Queen this year, and that's like super fun. It was a super fun time.
Nice. Did you do like the full campaigning videos, all that crazy stuff?
We're not allowed to do any of that. No, you just get to post to vote for me, and
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Weird. So like, are you allowed to have like an underground secret campaign on like Twitter and stuff?
I can't say or not.
I thought there was a lot more to it than that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3.
Number 3, I met Steph Curry in the airport, and that was super fun.
How did that happen?
We were just at an airport. We're coming back actually from a track meet, and so I didn't know who Steph Curry was at the time. I was like 8 or something like that. And my dad was like, "Look, Steph Curry." And we're like, "Who's Steph Curry?" And he was like, take a picture. So we took it, and like I'll always like be so proud that he made us do that, because
so you got the picture?
We got the picture,
okay.
yeah.
Did you get an autograph?
Not an
just
autograph, just a picture, yeah.
All right. Now, where are we at? That was number what? 3?
3, yeah.
All right, number 2.
I can't say turtle. It's been a thing since I was like forever, since I was
that
little.
That was weird. Say
Yeah, right, turtle.
Why?
I don't know. I just never
that
been
the
able
only
to say.
word?
That's the only word now.
The entire
That's the only
word?
word now.
Okay.
I used to not be able to say a lot of words.
Do your friends like?
They make fun of me.
Do they try to get you to say it?
Yeah, constantly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they give you the box of candy that's called turtles?
No, they haven't done that.
Okay.
That's a good one.
All right. Number 1 thing we don't know about you.
I think I make the best Cajun chicken pasta like ever. It's
Cajun chicken pasta.
Yeah,
okay.
it's so good.
Tell us about that.
It's like a creamy like Alfredo based type of sauce, and then chicken and Cajun all over the chicken. It's so good. It's just like a mixture of like hot and creamy at the same time.
All right. Are we doing like a grilled chicken? Are we doing baked?
Grilled chicken.
What is grilled chicken all the way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That's your go-to?
That's my go-to. That's
like,
probably one of the only things I can cook. But
so that's the only thing you make?
But yeah, it's super good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're all over the place with that. The top 5 things we don't know about you.
Yeah.
One other thing I did want to spotlight, though, that you didn't mention is like you like have an amazing GPA too, right?
Oh yes, I have a 4.0.
So
yeah.
I mean, talk about that, because I don't think we talk about that enough on the program, right? Like that's hard.
It is
between
hard.
basketball and practice and the gym and school.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's an impressive achievement. So talk about that.
No, it's super hard, but I feel like that's like always been my main focus. Like basketball ends at some point, and I have to be able to provide for myself. And I want to become a lawyer when I'm older. So I know I need a good GPA for that. And yeah, but La Cueva does a really good job of making sure you're a student before athlete. I know Coach Back is always telling us you need to be where your feet are. If your feet are not in the classroom, you're not going to get good grades and you're not going to learn. And that's what ultimately we're at school for. So,
right.
Yeah.
So what? But average day, right? Because there's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Right. So like, take us through that.
So in the mornings, I'm starting to get back into 5 a.m. workouts at SAC with Coach Charlotte. Okay. So then I go to school. I don't start school this year till 9:30 because I'm in first period. Right. So I'll stop, make myself a smoothie at home, go to school, do all my schoolwork at school. I try to get a lot done during class. And then after school, I usually go to the gym with my dad, or I have a workout or open gym. And then after school, I'm really just eating dinner and studying. Unless there's like a football game or something, or church, yeah.
And then when basketball starts, then obviously game time, right? So,
yeah.
So like once you're in season, like that's how much harder does it get in season?
It's so much harder, but I feel like as a team, we all have high GPAs. I know like Tessa Updegraff, she has like a 4.3 or some like insanely GPA. So we all like push each other and we're always there for each other. I know we do like homework before the games. We'll get food and do our homework before the games, because we know like that's what really sets us apart.
You mentioned Coach Back, obviously talking about that, but where else does that come from? I would assume parents as well, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, so talk about that. Like, has that always been a big thing in your house? Like, hey,
yes.
grades first.
Yeah, grades first has always been the biggest thing for us. My dad used to make me sit at the table and do my homework every day since I was in kindergarten, and like practice my handwriting and stuff. So it's always been like instilled in us to like get your schoolwork done, and then you can do everything else. So it's always been like the biggest thing for my parents.
I can remember my parents telling me, if you want to see the outside of this house, you better get A's.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so that was my motivation, right? Like, so for sure. All right, let's get into this this junior year now, this previous year.
Yeah.
Talk about just preseason goals, how you guys set those.
Preseason goals, we were just on, our word this past year was family. It's acronym for forget about me, I love you. And so that was our biggest goal, is to play for each other. And so once we started to play for each other, we really started to see ourselves grow as a team. I mean, like, I feel like we're one of the only teams who really, truly played for each other. Like, you can see it on the court. We were just so excited and happy for each other. But our preseason goal, obviously, was to win state. We always, that's always our goal at La Cueva. But we honestly had such a good chance this past year, and to just trust the process. We started off not being able to learn how to play defense. It took us so many games to learn how to play defense, but we honestly just trusted the process.
Well, you cruised through your first 2 playoff opponents pretty easily.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward to the championship game. First of all, how was it not seeing Volcano on the other side?
Honestly, I feel like we got that out of our head once we beat them.
Right.
They weren't really as big as a problem as
Right.
to us, because we knew we could beat them once. We can do it
Right.
any time again.
So there's the old nemesis, the Hobbs Eagles, on the other side, right?
Yeah.
And so that game gets crazy at the end. So let's talk about what everyone was talking about.
Yeah.
I really, to this day, I mean, yeah, I watch replays, right? But I remember I was driving back to the pit and I was listening to it on the radio, and the radio people, trust me, they didn't know what happened. So you were there. What happened?
I mean, we just fell on top of each other, and we were all trying to get up, and I was trying to get up, and just a situation happened where I honestly think neither of us should have gotten ejected. It was a physical game, and it was nothing like malicious from either side of us. So I just knew both of us wanted to finish out that game, and so it was like a really devastating end, because I don't think any of us should have got ejected. But that's not really up to my decision yet. So,
but still, I mean, what went through your mind when you were like, oh, I gotta go?
it just, honestly, I was shook. I was like so surprised, and I just kept remembering like, I just have to be there for my team. Like, they can't see me leave the court and like distraught or anything like that. I have to be super calm and just have full faith and show that I have full faith that they can finish the game. As soon as I got up the pit stairs, I started bawling my eyes out because I was so sad I couldn't finish the game. Right. But then I stepped into that room where you can watch the game on the TV, and I was like, okay. And I was cheering my teammates on to the very end. But I think the hardest part of that was just seeing my teammates walk up the pit and not being able to finish the last game with them.
So here you are at the beginning of your senior year. Would it be safe to say you'd like to see the Eagles again? Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, I feel like any competitor would want to. I know we'll see them in the Metro tournament, but our goal is to win state. It's not just to beat one team. Our goal is to win state as a team. Right. So talk about, lastly, as we finish up here, the leadership role you're taking on this team, because that's what your coaches seem to rave about, is your leadership on that team. So talk about that. How did it develop? Who did you learn from, and how excited are you to be a senior leader on this team? I'm so excited. I know last year was a different type of leadership I had to do. My dad works at the hospital, and he leads hundreds of people every single day. So I kind of went to him last year, and I was like, what can I do to lead? There's so many different types of personalities on that team last year. What do I need to do to become the leader that will make us win the state championship? And I learned I had to be a servant leader. We always talk about it. Coach Moose and I always talk about being servant leaders, because Jesus was a servant leader. And so that's always been my goal, is to be a servant leader to my teammates. Anything they need, I put their needs in front of mine. I know when I was hurt, it was super hard to be a leader from the bench, but honestly, I think that's where I learned it the most. How am I going to be a part of this team still? How am I still going to lead this team and be an impact? And I was watching film with the girls. I would watch film over and over again, even though I wasn't playing, and I would call the girls. I've called Jordan on FaceTime and be like, you need to do this, you need to do this, like, you'll be fine, like, just play confident. And just being a spark on the bench was really hard, but that's where I really learned my leadership. Sounds like maybe when you're done playing, Coach Love might be I know. A title you might carry, right? Coach Moose always says that, and I love coaching. It's honestly super fun. So. Well, we're out of time today. It feels like we could talk again, so let's do it again, maybe during the basketball season. Yeah. Best of luck this year, and thanks for coming. Thank you. And thank you for watching, everyone. Good night.